Hi all. Welcome to my bookshelf. This is going to be the start of my first Stephen King ever vlog. So, I am a horror wimp. I do not read horror. I feel like I am just a wimp, and I am fully acknowledging I don't read a lot of horror. The most horrific that I read is like Dracula. And that is it's just classic. And even watching Dracula adaptations, I'm like, I can't. So I'm a wimp. But I figured, you know what? I'm at the library. I grabbed a few books I shouldn't have, one of which is a mammoth of like a history book. But I wanted to just be like, you know what? I'm here. Let's see if they have Stephen King. And I mean, it's October. People should be reading Stephen King. I'm also like, you know what? Maybe they have one that I could read. And not like The Stand, which they had. And I was like, nope. They had another one. I don't remember what that one was. But I went with like, oh, there's an itty bitty one. So I grabbed Elevation. I'm going to try reading this and give you my thoughts on Stephen King. I will say this. I don't think I'm going to be a Stephen King fanatic ever in my life. I don't think I'm going to suddenly fall in love with his work. I have on my shelves at home, so I didn't need to get a library book, but I have on my shelves at home Misery, and I also have an audiobook of Rose Madder, which are both by Stephen King. So maybe one day I'll read those. But this is basically, I feel like as a true reader in my life, like as someone who I could say like, yeah, I read a lot of books. In order to say that, I need to try one Stephen King. So we're gonna go with this one. It's tiny. How many pages is it? It's like 146. 146. I can smash this. Hopefully it doesn't creep me out too much. I don't know if I'm going to do spoilers or not for Elevation. I'll try not to. I'll just get my feelings on the writing and the horror level. I don't even know if this is a horror, because I know Stephen King is always shelved under horror, but he sometimes does like saying strange sci-fi or fantasy. I don't know. Let's see how I feel about this. Here we go. Let's start. At least let's examine the first line together. Scott Carey knocked on the door of the Ellis condo unit, and Bob Ellis. Well, this is a long sentence. I'm not going to be a fan of this book, I can tell. So I am 25 pages in, and I'm really annoyed with some of this writing style. Like the first sentence, how it had that like big whatever. It was like in brackets. Everyone in Highland and Acres still called him Dr. Bob, even though he was 5 years retired. I don't need to have that in that style. I'm not a fan of the writing style. And I don't know. It's kind of boring. And I know this isn't one of his popular books. I'm just kind of like, what's so special? Like, that's my mentality right now. I'm not a fan of the writing style. It's just a bit too run on and a bit too long of sentences. Kind of just feels pointless. And obviously I'm not liking the character Scott right now, but I mean, I'm 24 pages in. I don't think I'm going to, based on his treatment of people right now. But yeah. Also, I will say this, and I know that this is not true for a lot of Stephen King books. At least I don't think it's true. I'm not a big fan of swearing in books. I find it to be frustrating. I don't like reading a ton of swearing, and I try to avoid books that have tons of that. So far, this book has not had a lot of swearing. I think I'm, like 10% through? I'm actually more, probably 15% through, and there's not been too much, so that's good. But at the same time, it is not a preference of mine, and it will impact my enjoyment level. But let's keep going. I really just want to knock it out because I have to have read some sort of Halloween-y feeling book for Wednesday. It's currently Thursday. So 6 days from now for my book club meeting. And we're not doing a specific book. We're just doing a read book that's like Halloween-y. So I'm like, you know what? Stephen King or Agatha Christie if I'm not loving this. So yeah, we'll see. But Not a fan right now. Not a fan. Okay, so something that I can't remember if I've heard before. I feel like I did, but I'm just really not impressed with is the description of women's bodies in here. Not everyone needs to be sexualized, okay? You can read or you can talk about people in your life without commenting on their really slender, awesome legs or how their short shorts are. Like, it's a lot, and I am not a fan. Yeah, I'm not going to be a Stephen King reader, I can tell. But I'm 58 pages in, and I'm still feeling blah. I'm still feeling bored. This is interesting. Please don't hate on me. Apparently, I'm just not a Stephen King fan. But I don't know. This is not my kind of thing. And I probably won't read much of him. I might read Misery still. I'll keep it on my shelves, but no, not this kind. And the whole story here, which is talked about in the description, is about this guy who's losing weight without any reason. And he looks the same, even though his weight is actually going down. Whether he is carrying weights or like 10 pounds of coins or whatever, it doesn't change. So all of that's weird, but it's not feeling horror. It's just kind of sci-fi. So maybe this wasn't a good choice, but yeah. I don't know what to make of it, but I'm almost halfway through. So I'm going to finish it tonight, and then I will be able to check Stephen King off of my reader's bucket list. Let me know if you have any bucket list authors that you need to check out in your life that you feel you must read or must try, or any authors that you just think everyone should read in order to try to be well-rounded. I'd love to know what are some of the bucket list authors you think you need to read in your life. Anyways, I'm going to get back to this. We'll see my final thoughts. Maybe I'll check in again if something else pops up. So I'm done. I think this is getting like a 2-star. It's just not my thing. But also, I feel like, I know this is a novella, but it was just so random. And the ending was just kind of like, okay. That came out of basically nowhere. I don't know. I think I'm going to give this one a 2-star. And I might give Stephen King another chance with Misery. But I can at least say I have read Stephen King. At least I can say that. So yeah, 2 stars for this book. Although I haven't heard the best things about this book. So this isn't like a crazy expectation. But yes, so I'm done. My overall thoughts on Stephen King. Writing style is too wordy and run-on sentences, in my personal opinion. Sci-fi element, interesting, but not explored enough. Plot, weird, and the ending was like, whatever. Basically, I don't understand the hype. But that's okay. I don't have to. So yeah, that's it. Please let me know if you've read Elevation. What are your thoughts? This has no spoilers, so if you haven't, then you're not spoiled. Or if you've read Stephen King and if you enjoy his work, I'd like to know. But also, please let me know if there's any authors that I have never read, like that you don't think I've read, that you'd like me to do this kind of video on, where I read I don't know, a cornerstone author, a big foundational author that everyone should read, and give my thoughts as I read. Let me know if there's anyone that you would like to see me do that for. I'd be very interested in that. And also let me know if you will do that for any of your cornerstone authors or your bucket list authors. Who do you think you need to read before you die? I'd love to know your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, that'd be amazing. And I will see you next time. Bye for now.
things that I don't know.